Hey, welcome everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today. This video is going to be discussing the Camp Lejeune water poisoning. If you've not heard about this, between 1953 and 1987, I believe it was, between 1953 and 1987, there was contaminants that got into the water supply at Camp Lejeune. And we're going to be discussing this, what you can do if you were there during this time frame, what your benefits could be, and what you need to do about it. Right. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is I am going to bring up, give me just a second here. I want to bring up a document real quick so I can kind of break it down for you and talk about what happened. So this is actually from publichealth.va.gov, this document. And all the documents that I show you today and we kind of review will be listed in the description below. I am also going to set up on the foxyandcraig.com website. I will put all this information about Camp Lejeune. I'll put a write-up together, and that will all be there about the time that this video releases or shortly thereafter. So let's talk about what happened. So from the 1950s through the 1980s, people living or working at the U.S. Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, were potentially exposed to drinking water contaminated with industrial solvents. That includes benzenes and other chemicals. And I'm actually going to kind of go over the different chemicals that were involved so you kind of understand just how bad it was. So, and this wasn't even admitted to until I believe somewhere around the 87 or later. Really, until recently, it hasn't come to light where they're looking at some of the actions that happened. The biggest problem from this event, well, let me continue where I was talking about. So let's get back to what I was saying, the drinking water at Camp Lejeune. So what was in the drinking water? Now I'm going to try to kind of get a little bit closer to this. So these are the different elements that were in the water. Now I'm going to try to read them off, but triglycerine or something to TCEs, PCEs, benzynes, vinyl chloride, and other compounds. What these compounds are compounds that are used, from what I understand and have read, were used to clean. They were cleaning solvents used to clean barrels of rifles, weapons, artillery barrels. All sorts of other cleaning solvents were all involved in it that got from the ground into the water system. And this was for an extended period of time. So to me, the issue becomes those of you who spent significant time at Camp Lejeune. I will give you an example. I was at Camp Lejeune at the Camp Geiger area, which is an affected area. I'm going to show you a map of the affected areas. I was there for a good 5 or 6 years drinking this water, easily 5 or 6 years. And I was one of those guys that you twisted your ankle and I said, go drink water. That'll fix you. So this is very near and dear to my heart. So those types of chemicals, if you were there, you need to look into this. And there is a registry as well. that you can register online, which I will have a link below on the registry and how you can register online. The other thing I recommend is get with your local Veterans Affairs organizations and submit for disability based on you being at Camp Lejeune during this time frame. The reason I say that is get that record started in your VA. Now, the other thing you're going to see out there, and I think it's really important to note, is you're going to find all these lawyers and legal firms saying, come on, we're going to fight for you. We're going to get those benefits and we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. I personally do not recommend any of those. I know the VFW does not recommend any of those because, one, they're going to try to take any money they make is going to come out of your pocket. So getting them is not going to give you any more money than anybody else gets. So it's better to do a little bit of that wait and see. But first and foremost, start putting in for claims. Now, there are disabilities that are included with those complaints. So let's talk about some of those. And you can start right away if you fit into any of those. Now, here are some of the ones that families and veterans and their family members covered for healthcare, because this will also help you from a healthcare perspective for your medical bills. So to include, there's 15 conditions in this particular article, which includes bladder cancer, breast cancer, esophageal cancer, female infertility, stenosis, kidney cancer, leukemia, lung cancer, miscarriages, multiple melanomas. Some of these I don't understand, the spastic syndromes and neurobehavioral effects, I think is a one to also look into, especially if you've been one that's involved in counseling and dealing with all sorts of other issues where you're going to see a psychiatrist, a psychologist or a therapist or something like that. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, renal toxicity, and I can't pronounce this one. It looks like scleroderma. But these are just some of the items that have already been known to be caused by the water poisoning. Now, see, there's other conditions they may not have recognized, and that's why it's so important that you get to your Veterans Affairs office, tell them that you're a part of the program, and go over the list of issues you have. They may not be directly related, but they may be, and they may be found down the road. So get this in your medical record. Make this a part of your medical history. You've got to take care of yourself to make sure that you're covered and your family members are covered, because you never know when some of this stuff is going to hit. So that talks about what they're saying are the items that are involved in, or the health conditions that they've already agreed to. However, we all know there'll be more as time goes on. This is just like Agent Orange, where Agent Orange didn't start taking care of our veterans until close to the 2000s, maybe a little bit after that, probably around, I want to say 2008, 2010. And this is another one of those issues where they're slow to react to something that affects us veterans that are dealing with issues from this environment that we were subject to. So talking about that, now let me find the map real quick, because I do have a map. Okay, so I have up the map right now of the Camp Lejeune disability benefit coverage area, and you can see by this map which areas are covered and which areas are not. And you can see that almost everywhere within Camp Lejeune is covered. There's very few areas that are not covered at all. Everything from Marine Corps Air Station, New River, Hadnot Point, the main Camp Lejeune, Camp Geiger is another one. Now, for those of you who lived in base housing and your families did, you got to start looking at Tarwer Terrace, Holcomb Boulevard. Of course, there's for the veterans, there's Camp Johnson. The other thing you have to look at too is maybe you lived off base, but your family member worked at the PX and was drinking water there or involved there and doing things over a continual period. So that needs to be looked at too. So if you have a family member that was drinking water on base, I think it's an important thing to cover as well. And also anyone out in Onslow Beach, which would be 2nd Recon Battalion was out there, out at Onslow Beach, so they would be covered as well. So if you're in this particular coverage area and you are someone who served during this time, it's critical that you take the time, reach out to your Veterans Affairs office and submit a claim. Start off submitting a claim, get it on the record, get it in your record. I can't say this enough. So I know this was a short video, and I appreciate the fact that you took the time to listen and gain that knowledge on the Camp Lejeune water poisoning. I will recommend that you turn around and get a hold of your Veterans Affairs and submit a claim and get that on the record. One other issue I have is I've been dealing with tremors, and I know it's known that Parkinson's was also one originally that was on the list, but I didn't see it this last time. So if you're having issues with tremors or Parkinson's and you were involved in this particular situation, make sure you add that to your claim. When you go to your rep, make sure you list all medical issues you're having, whether you think they're related or not. It's important that all those get into your record. So again, like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to foxyandcraig.com. or leave some questions in the comments below. If you leave them in the comments, I'll go through, I'll compile a list and maybe put an FAQ together based on the questions that were asked. So that way we can get more information for everybody that was involved as soon as possible. And again, I want to thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it as always. And if you don't mind, please, please like and subscribe. The more people that subscribe, the more people that like the video, the more information we can get out to our veterans. And I would really appreciate that. And I know that they would too. So take care, everybody. Thank you.